Watch more, feel more. Dell.
It is truly one of those super Sundays in sport. While some of you might have the attention in the US Grand Prix or at Man United Liverpool later today or India Pakistan later today, we kick things off on this double-header day in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup with Bangladesh against Sri Lanka. It's an all-Asian affair. And things kick off in Sharjah in just under half an hour from now on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. It's a very good afternoon to Shahriar Nafees and Ajit Agarkar. And I must say, I'm going to get used to saying good afternoon to Shahriar Nafees because that's when we're going to see him for Bangladesh. All games in the afternoon now, Shahriar.
That's very interesting, but I truly believe Bangladesh will not mind that. In afternoon games, it will be a hot. The wickets, Bangladeshi spinners will get a lot of purchase out of it. And if you talk about the main bowling strength, Mustafis, he has been playing IPL for last month, and if he wants to bowl those cutters, these surfaces, this weather will definitely suit him. So Bangladesh will not
Hmm.
mind at all. But if you look into a bigger picture, a team playing all 5 day games, that is very interesting.
Yeah, there's a smile on Shahriar Nafees's face, Ajit. Understandably, even Russell Domingo, Bangladesh's head coach, said, "We don't mind these 2 o'clock starts, even though it's all 5 games in the afternoon. It reminds us a bit of Dhaka." And I wonder how that plays out in what's already such a fascinating group, a group of death that we've known to come to call Group One.
Yeah, I mean, like Shahriar said, I don't think they'll necessarily mind it. The dew won't be a factor, which is a big thing, especially when you have some spin up your sleeve. Even the fast bowlers can struggle at times with the dew, and it is going to be a factor as this competition goes ahead. So I think it'll work in their favor. I don't know how that's happened, but it will certainly they'll be better off for it than in the evening games.
Yeah, they've done well. Well, they would have liked to perhaps chase, but Sri Lanka won the toss. They're going to have a bowl first, head to head in the tournament's history. These two teams actually don't have much to choose between them. 3-3 is where it stands between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. This is, of course, since the 2016 World Cup. So in recent times, it's been even Stevens. And I don't know how much it counts for looking at the first round. But Ajit, you watched that first round closely. Bangladesh started slowly, they ended strongly. Sri Lanka looked like the standout team, at least in their pool.
They were. I think the Sri Lankan bowling was exceptional. Bangladesh picked up pace luckily at the right time because that Scotland played well on the that first game, that loss you see that Bangladesh had. Bangladesh perhaps
Yeah.
didn't bat well, should have chased those runs down, but Scotland were quite disciplined and very good. Sri Lanka, the bowling has really been impressive though, and even though it was
Hmm.
Netherlands, there was some hostility in this fast bowling. Spin had a lot of mystery, guile. Tikshana might be missing, so that'll be a bit of a blow to them. But otherwise, their bowling looks in very good order, and I think it might end up being a very good toss to win.
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? They won the toss as well, Shahriar. Now Sri Lanka's bowling. It looks like it's got a bit of oomph about it, a bit of X factor. Chamira and Lairu Kumara with the new ball and Hasaranga through the middle. Is that the big challenge? How Bangladesh's batters bat against Sri Lanka's fast bowlers in the power play?
Sri Lanka has got a lot of variations. If you look at their bowling attack, not you will not find two bowlers similar. Like this fast bowlers, they are both different. They have spinners, and Sri Lanka always produce mystery spinners. So, and in a game, as a batsman, you need time to settle, and then you start playing and start winning matches. But as a bowler takes lesser time to settle down in the team. And Sri Lanka bowling attack has looked very, very, very disciplined. They have a lot of variations, and yes, they have played against Namibia or Ireland or Netherlands, but their discipline was standout. Sri Lanka was very, very, very fearful, and it will be a very interesting encounter against Bangladesh, because in recent times, Sri Lanka was a better side, but Bangladesh has picked up, and now both the teams are fighting very hard and trying to prove who is better. So Sri Lanka, in a
Yeah.
rebuilding process, they will not want to let this chance away.
Yeah, this is a bit of a, you could say that in the pecking order of the Asian giants, these clashes matter. Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh, even India versus Bangladesh. But we're talking about Sri Lanka's two fast bowlers. Lairu Kumara and Chamira have been excellent in T20I cricket this year. They've added something different to this new look Sri Lanka side that's undergone a bit of a transition under Dasun Shanaka. That's how they've gone in 2021. Economy rate of just over 6 with 18 wickets in 15 games for Chamira. And you've got Kumara as well with decent numbers. Now, what sort of fast bowling will be effective, Ajit? You've seen these two. We saw Josh Hazlewood yesterday, Sharjah in these afternoon services. What sort of fast bowling is going to be difficult or effective from what you've seen?
Well, I think I don't think we can necessarily compare, say, Abu Dhabi to Sharjah, but anyone who hits a length, I think these guys are both rapid. From what little we've seen, I mean, Chamira we've seen a lot more of, but Kumara was looked rapid, and anything on a length, because the ball keeps low and skids through, it is so difficult to score. As soon as you hit a hard length, or even if you're a little bit shorter at times, Sharjah becomes very difficult to score off. So, and when you have extra pace, it is going to be even more difficult. So I think Bangladesh have their work cut out. It might be a
Yeah.
quick. They might have to quickly assess what a good score is, and a good score is so completely different in Sharjah to what it is maybe at Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and they might have to approach it accordingly instead of trying to get too many, because this bowling
Hmm.
won't be easy to score. I mean, these guys are rapid, but if any seam bowler hits a length, it is very difficult to score off because most balls end up hitting the bottom of your bat.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing with a lot of teams, Shahriar, isn't it? Batters or batting sides collectively not understanding how much they need to get, especially batting first. Now, in this situation, are you happy as a Bangladesh fan that there is a lot of experience in that team? In Shakib, in Mushfiq Rai. Mushfiq, I think, batted 8 in one of the games in round one on the situation. But these are the sort of games where you want your experienced guys to figure that out early.
Definitely. First of all, I'm very happy that Bangladesh is going to bat first. Bangladesh
Okay.
has gone through a lot of nerves, so they're batting first. I want them to put up a decent score, and then the team can, the bowling unit of the team can figure it out how to defend that. Yes, talking about Sharjah wicket, when I was a kid, we used to see, even like I saw Ajit play. Those were very high scoring wickets, but nowadays it has become so different. Difficult wicket, but a smaller ground, so it can be very very interesting. But I'm seriously backing the experience of Bangladesh batting order. Shakib, Mahmudullah, even Mushfiq. Yes, he has a lean patch, but I truly believe that he's such a guy. He works so hard, physically and mentally. He will come back. So experience wise, Bangladesh is a more experienced side than Sri Lanka, and if Bangladesh can put all the experience and put all the planning into the ground, Bangladesh will be a very difficult side to beat.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, but I'm sure Ajit Agarkar hasn't let that pass through. That a young Shahriar Nafees was a kid, so
I,
Ajit
I, I-
Agarkar played
I've gotten
with
used to it, Ronak, now.
But let me point out, it's 7 years between Shahriar and Ajit. But Ajit Agarkar started young, right, in international cricket, so you can understand a
No, no,
young Shahriar Nafees.
seriously, like he was bowling fast. I used to watch. So it's not like say when I was 16, I was watching him play for the national team.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm
yeah.
not saying that I'm very very little, like younger than him, but I
We're
saw
just
him
having
playing
fun.
Don't,
very
don't,
early
don't,
enough.
don't fall for Ronak. Please don't fall for Ronak. Shahriar, it's fine. But
Okay,
I
all
mean,
right.
even even
I look
the
the older
even the
fan on
last
the
year's
screen, but
IPL,
anyway.
sorry,
Yes, Ajit,
even the
please.
last year's IPL, 220, 230 was tough to
Hmm.
defend at times in Sharjah, and they've, I think, relayed the surface, and it's obviously not
Yeah.
quite worked out yet. Let's hope it's a better pitch, and we can get to see some decent cricket.
Yeah, when Ajit made the point though, we saw it in the round one games too, Shahriar, and in the IPL. You have so many of these odd balls that are only hitting the bottom of the bat. You have 5 or 6 guys in the ring, and it seems so hard to just get run making. Now, how do you approach this as a batter? Do you suddenly bat differently when you bat at Sharjah?
Normally, Ronak, it's a new surface. So it will be difficult for the batters to figure out. But normally, in say, if we talk about Mirpur pitch, our what we do in Mirpur is we don't try to score 170, 180. We try to score something around 130 and 40. And if you bat well, you will end up scoring 160. So I think in Sharjah event, if you are planning to score 180, 90, then you will end up scoring 100, 110, 120. But if you take a little bit of time, try to time the ball, and if you plan to score 130, 30, 40, then in a couple of good overs, your score will end up something around 150. So you have to be yes, it's a T20 match, but we have to be a bit patient, wait for the bad balls, and try to capitalize on those.
Yeah, I'm very curious to know, Ajit, how teams are preparing while playing in the UAE this year, especially at Sharjah. Are they getting surfaces in the nets that are similar to the surfaces in the center, or are they supposed to almost try and bat on bad pitches, if we can call it that, to try and just get used to batting on 20 overs like this?
I'm not sure where you're going to get those bad pitches to practice on. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, with so many teams around, you get the practice facility. No, you still want good practice facilities. You don't want to practice. I don't think it's. I mean, we saw the other day Namibia batted beautifully to chase that total down, which in the past we've seen has been a very tricky total. So there are ways to do it. I think what a lot of teams have certainly tried to do is target the first 6 overs, because as soon as the field spreads and the ball gets a little bit softer, uh, scoring becomes even more difficult. Gotham keeps making the point here that you need to try and rotate strike. If you have the ability to rotate strike, at least you're not putting pressure on yourself by getting stuck at one end, which is easier said than done on these pitches because you've got to have the skill to do it. But if batters can do that, then it will
Hmm.
not put so much pressure because the scoreboard will keep moving.
All right. Now, Dasun Chanaka has already made a reference to the surface of the toss, saying it looks like it's just keeping lower after the IPL. But they had to make one selection call. That was after Mahesh Theekshana pulled up a side spin. Who replaces him? They had the spin option of Praveen Jayavikrama, but they've gone for a pacer, Ajit, in Anura Fernando, a left arm seamer. Again, tells you perhaps what Sri Lanka think would be effective here. An extra seamer instead of the spin option that they could have gone for. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think a good call. I mean, yesterday we spoke that maybe a spinner would replace, but on a Sharjah surface, it wouldn't have mattered. As I mean, especially a seamer, if he can bowl well into the pitch, lots of cutters, anything into the pitch is practically very very difficult to score off. So yeah, it's a good call. Plus a left armer, so gives you a different variation, a different angle as well. Uh, I don't mind. You don't necessarily have to play too many spinners just because you have them. Tikshana would have been really good because he's got mystery about him. But Seema is a good call.
Curiously, Shahriar, if you looked at that Bangladesh 11, they've gone the other way. Tashkin Ahmed is out, and Arul Ahmed, so more spin for Nasum Ahmed, beg your pardon, is in for Tashkin. Now, what do you make of that?
Bangladesh tried Taskin in the first round. Nasum has been, Nasum almost won the ICC Player of the Month award in the last month. So Nasum has been picking wickets. He has been among the best bowlers in last couple of months. So I don't mind Nasum coming in. I think Bangladesh, what the team management has thought is they have gone for the best in the first round, before going to playing the main round of the World Cup. Bangladesh tried different stuff, but now they have decided, okay, let us play with the best options we have. And Nasum, in terms of picking wickets, in terms of economy, has been a bit better than Taskin in a couple of months.
All right, so very interesting. Both teams have gone slightly differently. The extra spinner for Bangladesh, the extra seam option for Sri Lanka. See how important that toss is going to turn out to be. But there are some star players here that we're going to keep an eye out for. Wanindu Hasaranga has started this tournament brilliantly, not just with ball but with bat too. We will have Maila Jayawardene on this show in a few days from now, and perhaps talk more about what's resulted in Hasaranga having this sort of massive impact with bat. Now, this is the real deal, though. And Ajit, we have seen what Hasaranga is capable of with ball. Here he is now given this different sort of role, this all-round role. Hasaranga having a good tournament could go a long way in Sri Lanka going deep into this.
Yeah, I mean, those are unbelievable numbers for anyone, and not a small sample size. It's a sizable amount of games that he's played. Watched him closely when India went to Sri Lanka just before that England tour, and does simple things well. Has a really good googly, but bowls straight all the time. So doesn't give the batsman too much. Doesn't really flight the ball as much. It's a little bit quicker, so the trajectory is quite fast and makes life difficult for the batsman. A lot of the batsmen don't seem to read googlies that easily these days. So he's a handful, and in the middle overs, especially when he does bowl, it can be very tricky when batsmen are trying to either go after the bowling or try and rotate strike. It's not easy against him.
Yeah, is Hasaranga more difficult than other spinners when it comes to those googlies and being picked, Shahriar, or is it just, like Ajit says, a time that we have these days where no batters pick googlies as much?
Bit of both. What
Hmm.
Hasaranga does is he bowls very straight. He doesn't turn much. Even in a turning pitch, we have seen he doesn't turn much. So when he bowls leg spin, it almost goes straight, but his googlies turn more. And in T20 matches, normally batters don't watch the wrist or watch the revolution of the ball. They just watch it coming out of the hand and then try to hit. That's why sometimes some bowlers. So if you take Sunil Narayan as an example, in T20s he has been so successful, but in Test matches and in One Day matches, batsmen just pick him. So it's the awareness. Like in T20 matches, you are trying to score and trying to score very quickly, and sometimes those bowlers become so dangerous.
It's not like if you're suddenly given more responsibility in the other department that this can get neglected. Is Hasaranga so sorted with his bowling that you're not worried about making him the all-rounder, possibly the X factor player, Ajit, for Sri Lanka this tournament?
I mean, but someone who does both bat and bowl just gives you so much balance. Then it becomes so much easier to pick your other 10 guys around that player, especially somebody who's performing as well as he has. Uh, so no, I mean, like Shakib does for Bangladesh, provides both. Basically is doing the job of two players. So it becomes it. I mean, every team strives for that guy who does both, and it's very difficult to find these sorts of guys. So at the moment, he's doing a job for Sri Lanka, and he's going to be a key figure today as well.
Yeah, let's talk about Shakib, shall we? Talk about a good start to the tournament or just good numbers of late. Shakib's numbers are absolutely brilliant. He's looking at some records when it comes to ICC events. He's already pushing forward on those most wickets in T20 World Cups. He's there at 39, tied with Shahid Afridi. You'd back him, Shahriar, to go past this today itself. But Shakib started just how Bangladesh would want him. Shakib doing well invariably is Bangladesh doing well.
He just started at the right time.
Yeah.
Went to IPL, didn't have much playing time, but now first match he was desperate to score, but from the second match he picked up. He's picking up wickets, he's scoring runs, got 6 man of the match awards in last winning matches in ICC tournaments. So definitely Bangladesh will look up to him. But we want him to perform as a batsman and as a bowler. And he does simple things so extraordinarily. It's not he doesn't turn much. He just bowls. He just try to read the batsman. He varies his pace. And when he's batting, he can do everything. He can defend. He can just take singles when the team needs big hits. He can do that. So sometimes it's a blessing to have a player. Not sometimes, always it's a blessing to have a player like him. When he's not there, it's very difficult to pick the part. So Bangladesh is very blessed to have Sakib Al Hasan in the side.
Those numbers we brought up are more about Shakib the bowler, and that's perhaps if we isolate just the conversation on Shakib the bowler, it's perhaps even greater appreciation of the skill he's had, Ajit, and he's got 5 afternoon games to add to that tally. But Shakib the bowler is now getting numbers beyond Malinga, beyond Afridi, who've all been extremely effective T20 international bowlers. But that's testament to how good he's been. Shakib, the left arm spinner, has been effective in the shortest format almost throughout.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he knows his bowling so well, isn't it? And he's one of those bowlers who's so hard to score off. Just a little bit round arm, everything ends up in the stumps. And obviously, with experience, he's always had a great head. But with experience, you learn so much more about different situations when you need to attack, when you need to perhaps defend. I mean, even KKR, for that matter, used him with the new ball. That's the other skill he has. He can bowl with the new ball in T20 cricket. Which is not always easy for a spinner, especially a finger spinner. So, I mean, those numbers tell you the story. It's you don't have to keep saying it. And longevity, to last this long at the top,
Yeah.
you've got to have quality, which he certainly does.
Yeah, I mean, Shahriar Nafees mentions he's been at the receiving end of the Player of the Match awards every time Bangladesh win in ICC events. That's the sort of form that they've had. Now, you look at their last 6 wins. He had an outstanding 2019 World Cup standout player with bat and ball. And you also go to the Champions Trophy in 2017. You look at the World T20 this season, where you've already started with a couple of wins for Bangladesh in round one, and Shakib's been player of the match almost throughout. So, what are the expectations after round one, Shahriar? This was a tournament where Bangladesh could have even gone deeper. The last time it happened in 2016. A lot of these players, I don't know how many more World Cups there are in them. You think maybe at least one or two more for Shakib and Mushfiqur. But what are the expectations now after round one for Bangladesh?
I truly believe Bangladesh has the ability and the quality to play the semi-finals in this World Cup. Yes, Bangladesh had hiccup in the qualifying round, but this will make Bangladesh team more aware of the situation. If Bangladesh team can, the players of can have their potential, that this team has the experience, the quality, and the variation to play the semi-finals.
It's such a big call, but it's an interesting call, isn't it, Ajit? Looking at this group in particular, what happened yesterday? South Africa looked scratchy, Australia looked tentative, the West Indies looked all over the place. Suddenly, Bangladesh's defeat to Scotland, a few games having already loosened up a little, might just work in their favor.
It could, and T20 format does bring teams a lot closer than perhaps some of the other formats. So, and they've got quality in their team. Plus, now a little bit more confidence. They did start the qualifiers quite tentative, particularly in their batting, but now they seem to get that right also. I mean, they'd ideally like some runs from the top order, but
Yep.
or their opening batsmen. But apart from that, I think Mehdi Hassan, another guy who's been so impressive in those games, he's going to be a key factor for them because of the time that he bowls at. He bowled really impressively through those qualifiers. Plus, some games at Sharjah, perhaps against the big teams, could play in their favor. So look, that I mean, not both groups really. One or two upsets here or there can change the entire group. So in spite of those results that Australia and England have got, it's not a guarantee that they're going to go on a run because there's some tough teams in this group.
Yep, right. Players are already walking out for the anthems. I've noticed that they walked out a little sooner than the other teams do. That tends to happen. Sri Lanka and Bangladesh's anthems perhaps timed to the 3:30 start. Beautiful anthems, though both nations have got. Now, before we do wrap up, let's get an idea of the toughest question that can be asked of how much do teams get batting first and how close they'll be. Yesterday, our panel was way off, but that's not their fault. That's the teams batting first, just cocking it up. 118 first, then 55 all out. Shahriar, Nafees, give me a score. How much do Bangladesh target? How much would you be happy with?
Anything above 145 to 50. 145
Yeah,
above, yes.
145 plus. Ajit?
I mean that might be a winning score. I think we were so off yesterday. We said 160 and the scores were 118 and 55. So it's but looks like anything over a 130, 135 is a competitive score at Sharjah. 145 you'll certainly be very happy with.
All right, let's pick up the chat then at halftime. Ajit, Agarkar, Shahriar, Nafees, thank you very much. Join the chat at the end of the Bangladesh innings on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. If you're a Bangladesh fan, you're going to have some serious hopes and expectations now from the Super 12s. All 5 games in the afternoon. Batting first here against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka fans should be pretty excited too with how their team's gone. Should be a good one today as we also look forward to your company for India, Pakistan. So stay with us all through the day. We will pick up the chat at halftime at the end of the Bangladesh innings.
Watch more, feel more. Dell.